Now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline is Marques Eversoll from 1075 The Fan in Green Bay. Second time he's been with us during this preseason, and now we have some more stuff to talk about, notably what Taysom Hill did for the Green Bay Packers in D.C. on Saturday night. Marques, welcome back to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
What was the reaction from Taysom Hill's teammates after he, again, won the game late in the fourth quarter?
I mean, the sideline went absolutely nuts, and it's crazy in the preseason because so much of it for the top of the roster is just waiting for it to be over. You know, you want to get out of the preseason healthy, and it's just kind of waiting for the clock to hit zero. But when Taysom Hill broke off that run, I mean, the sideline just erupted, and everybody from Aaron Rodgers on down was anybody who was on the sideline ended up on the field. I mean, they were going absolutely crazy, and that was really the first real glimpse we've got at really how good of an athlete Taysom Hill is.
We've known, having watched him here at BYU, but it was exciting to see him break out that run. What does that kind of athleticism do for him in his battle to try and make the roster?
You know, it's interesting because obviously the Packers here in Green Bay, we've been pretty lucky with quarterbacks from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. But as a result of that, you know, with no question marks with your starting quarterback, the backup quarterback has become seemingly an interesting conversation every single year. A couple of years ago, Brett Hundley stood out his rookie year, didn't play a whole lot because of an injury last preseason. But then this little-known quarterback, undrafted guy, Joe Callahan, was basically everyone's darling in the preseason, people falling in love with him, and he made the 53-man roster. Now this year, Callahan's still around. Brett Hundley looks great as the second stringer, but Taysom Hill has definitely stolen the spotlight from Joe Callahan. So any hardcore Packer fan that splurged on a Callahan jersey last year is probably trying to exchange that for Taysom Hill right now. Because if you go by the first couple preseason games, I mean, he is, I would say, the leader in the clubhouse to be the number 3 quarterback. Now, will that be on the active 53-man roster or the practice squad? I don't know. But I think being an athlete, like you mentioned, bringing a different dimension to the table, what you can do with your legs, and what we saw from Taysom Hill on Saturday night, if you had to go to a backup quarterback, I think that's a really valuable asset to have. And when we talk about his legs and that 23-yard touchdown run, but it's not like the guy can't throw the ball either. I mean, the touchdown run won the game, and that's getting all the headlines. But the first preseason game against the Eagles, he had a perfect passer rating. So he threw one incomplete pass and a touchdown. So far, so good for Taysom Hill, and it's a pretty darn good situation for him to learn here in Green Bay.
Marques Eversoll, 1075 The Fan in Green Bay, Packers insider with us on BYU Sports Nation. When we talk about Taysom Hill's athleticism, and I said this last week on our show, at some point, if he can truly show what that is all about, it will give him a distinct advantage against a guy like Callahan who has a year of experience in the Packers offense. Just how much is Mike McCarthy and the coaching staff paying attention to the legs of Taysom Hill right now?
I think they're definitely paying attention to it. And even after the game, Aaron Rodgers in his post-game availability, he was talking about how leading up to the game last week, he brought up a highlight of Taysom Hill, like basically hurdling the guy against Texas. And, you know, I grew up in the Madison area, so obviously was a Badger fan, but TJ Ford and Vince Young, a couple of guys, made me kind of fall in love with the Texas Longhorns. So I've always tracked the Longhorns. And I remember back when Taysom Hill just tore them apart and BYU fared well against Texas. They controlled that game because of Taysom Hill. So he's been kind of on my radar. But, yeah, the Packers, the teammates, you know, the coaching staff, they're definitely aware of what an athlete he is. And just to throw this out there, too, I think Brady Papinga brought this to my attention, and we have Brady on every Thursday on our show. Obviously, BYU guy turned Packer, so he's got an interesting perspective on this. But he made me go look up the numbers athletically between Taysom Hill and Christian McCaffrey. And so I posted those, tweeted those out again this week. And basically Taysom Hill, obviously a bigger guy than McCaffrey, but slightly faster 40, better in the broad jump, better vertical jump. I mean, he's a great athlete. And I asked Brady, every time I tweet anything about either Taysom Hill or Jamaal Williams, I don't know what it is with you BYU fans, but it spreads like wildfire. It's like one person retweets it, and then I'm getting notifications on that tweet 3 days later, so it's crazy. But Brady insists that Packer fans are more passionate than BYU fans. Either way, there's not really a loser in that conversation.
Yeah. The history of success goes back deeper with the Packers and Bart Starr in the 60s than when BYU kind of emerged in the 70s. So maybe the Packers got a head start there, but passionate fan bases for sure. A lot of people excited about Jamaal Williams as well. Didn't have great numbers per se in the game the other night, 7 carries, 12 yards. But what are you seeing from Jamaal Williams, who is getting some run with the ones, it looks like?
Yeah, and I think last time I was on with you guys, we talked about this. What could he do as a rookie? And I said, I think it's realistic that at some point this season he's the starting running back for the Packers. Now, Ty Montgomery was good last year. He averaged 5.9 yards a carry in about half a season as he transitioned from receiver to running back. But that tells the whole story right there. As Ty Montgomery transitioned from receiver to running back, I mean, he's a converted player, and he's seen as the air quotes veteran on the roster. He's not really the veteran. I mean, to have 3 rookies there with Jamaal Williams and the other 2 draft picks that they had, that's a huge opportunity. I cannot imagine a better situation to step into if you're one of those rookie running backs. And I haven't seen anything this preseason that's made me come away from that prediction that at some point this year, Jamaal Williams will be getting reps with the first-team offense here in Green Bay. I mean, it seems like every year you'll bring in running backs, regardless of the team. And oftentimes, rookie running backs cannot get on the field because they can't protect the passer. Because at their university, they're just asked, okay, give me the ball 25 times, and I'm just going to run between the tackles or maybe catch some passes. A lot of colleges don't utilize a pro-style offense where they're asking their running back to protect the passer. Jamaal Williams, on the other hand, has shown that from the very first padded practice. I remember watching a drill with the running backs, and one of their other rookies, Devontae Mays, just got absolutely trucked, like ran right through, by Morgan Burnett, longtime safety here in Green Bay. And, I mean, Morgan Burnett's a good player. No shame in getting beat if you're a rookie. But Devontae Mays gets run over by the safety, and then on Burnett's very next rep, it just so happened that number 30, Jamaal Williams, was coming up. And it was almost like Williams was making Burnett dance, like wherever he wanted to go, a perfect pocket creator, like he had to run a big circle around the coach who was acting like the quarterback. And it just goes to show you, like, that's one rookie who certainly has not shown that he's ready to play a pro-style offense, especially next to Aaron Rodgers, and then one running back who is ready to do that, and that's Jamaal Williams.
Now, Aaron Rodgers has been very complimentary of Jamaal, and we've talked about the numbers, 7 carries, 12 yards, not eye-popping by any means. But he keeps calling him a really smart guy and saying that he's going to be a big part of what we do moving forward. Do you think Aaron Rodgers likes the idea of a true running back, Jamaal Williams, back there better than, let's say, the hybrid Ty Montgomery?
No, I wouldn't go as far as to say that he'd prefer to have the traditional style running back like Jamaal over Ty. I think they're still very excited about Ty. I think there's, maybe some reason to be concerned, seeing as he just missed the second preseason game, and he's had issues, he meaning Ty Montgomery, has had issues with getting nicked up and missing plays here or there or missing games. So there's some reason to be concerned. I do still think that if this were the regular season and Montgomery's ready to go, he's a clear-cut starter. I think that would be the case right now. But the longer he's out, I mean, let's face it, we're a couple weeks away from the season starting, and for the last week or so, Jamaal Williams has been getting the reps as the first-team running back. So one thing's for sure, though, if you're going to play next to Aaron Rodgers, the coaching staff has to be comfortable with you protecting Aaron Rodgers. Usually that's tough for a rookie. Doesn't seem like it with Jamaal Williams. And I know Reno Mahe brought that up to us when we had him on right after the draft. He's like, not only how good he is as a pass protector, but Jamaal's attitude towards pass protection, like going through drills in practice and just getting fired up about it and making it like a competition, taking it seriously. You heard almost the same comments verbatim from Packers offensive coordinator Edgar Bennett last week when he was talking about Jamaal. So I'm not sure that I would say Aaron would prefer to have a traditional running back like Jamaal Williams over Ty Montgomery, because they still like Montgomery. But I'll tell you what else Rodgers likes. He likes staying upright and not getting hit. And if Jamaal Williams can do that, I mean, like, guys, we've seen John Kuhn, a fullback, Aaron Ripkowski, a fullback. getting reps next to Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun. Neither one of those guys is a home run hitter by any means as a running back. But as long as they can be in the right place when they're supposed to be there, pick up the blitz, and keep Aaron Rodgers clean, they're going to see the field.
Story time, and then I'll ask the last question here. When Jamaal Williams was a freshman, the guy in front of him, Michael Elisa, broke his arm in about game 4, and Jamaal emerged at that point. Then later in the season, BYU played a team who ended up finishing in the top 25 with an NFL quarterback, San Jose State, David Fales. BYU's down late in that game. Jamaal Williams attempted to block a blitzer, missed him, and BYU's quarterback, Riley Nelson, fumbled. BYU lost that game. I think since that moment, Jamaal Williams became a good pass protector. Final question here. What would Colby Pearson have to do to make the team at this point?
You know, this one, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He would need like a minor miracle. I mean, he's missed time in training camp, and right now the Packers are deeper than deep at receiver. I mean, there's talk about potentially keeping as many as 7 receivers, and there's guys at the bottom of the roster even, like this undrafted guy, he's 6'6", Michael Clark, has been making all kinds of plays in practice. I think they like his raw ability, and obviously he's 6'6". You get down to Geronimo Allison, who made the team last year. I mean, I could go through all the names, but right now Colby Pearson is definitely at the bottom of that list. I think the Packers are going to be a team that, you know, come cutdown day, and there's no more 75-man cutdown, so when they go from 90 to 53, there are going to be a lot of teams around the league that are watching to see which receivers the Packers let go of because they're so deep, and they've got guys buried on their depth chart right now, a receiver that could help other NFL teams, you know, potentially even this season. So I think Colby Pearson, it's probably not going to work, at least right now here in Green Bay.
Great stuff, Marcus. We appreciate the insight. 1075 The Fan in Green Bay. Check it out if you're up in the area, and I'm sure some BYU fans will be making their way up to the Green Bay area given what has happened. Always nice to talk to you, Marcus. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.